Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's interview. Today, I'm chit-chatting with the driver of the number 20 for Young's Motorsports, Mr. Spencer Boyd. Spencer, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. You?
I'm doing awesome myself. Had to put on my Young's Motorsports swag. I had to go through and be like, I know I've got something of there somewhere.
I like it.
I guess jumping into it, Spencer, how did you first get into racing? Like, when did you decide you wanted to be involved within the sport?
Yeah. Well, I started out on dirt bikes when I was 4 and go-karts when I was 5. And my parents just kind of threw me to the wolves as far as, motorsports. And they were avid, fans of NASCAR and anything with wheels and a motor. So I fell in love with it at an early age. I think when you're that young, you really don't think about, oh, this is what I want to do when I get older. But just raced all over the country and really enjoyed it. And then I would say when I was about, 10 or 11, I was like, man, I'd like to be like Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr. Like, that's awesome. And really started, doing things to put that dream in action.
That's awesome. I guess next up, moving, your Talladega win, it's been well documented. But can you talk a little bit about how much that win meant to you at that time in your career?
Yeah, it feels like it was yesterday. Really, just a small town kid, from Missouri and moved to North Carolina to chase a dream. And it takes so many people believing in you and partners. Obviously, this is a very financially dependent sport.
Hmm.
So to win a race is huge. To make it to NASCAR is big. So it's kind of just like one step at a time. You get there and you're like, okay, well, now I'm here. Now I'd like to win a race. How do we do that? And these super speedways are a great equalizer. And my guys at Young's Motorsports build great super speedway stuff. And it really changed the direction of my career. Like
Hmm.
it was a lot of, week to week chasing the dream. And then this kind of solidified myself with Young's Motorsports. This is my 3rd year here with them. It kind of helped me. I'm not going to say household name, but it definitely helped me gain popularity,
Yeah.
which is great for sponsors. And then just that confidence to know that, hey, when the cards fall the right way, when the dominoes fall the right way, I can make it happen. So it was a big confidence booster. It's great to be able to see my name up on the ticker, say, previous winner, Talladega.
Hmm.
And Talladega, from Eric Church's song, the Talladega Nights, to just racing in general. That's a
Hmm.
really cool place to have cracked my first win.
Yeah, growing up, that's what I love about the super speedways was that going into that weekend, normally you knew, okay, it's going to be these 5 guys unless something weird happens. But when you go into, this weekend, you know that like there's 40 drivers that have that opportunity, to win. And I remember too watching like when you won and just thinking like, for your casual fan, they think, well, that's nice, that guy won. But like, when you follow your journey in Young's Motorsports, you start realizing that like that win goes so far, for you, for the team. And like you said, now you get to go to a sponsor and say, here's a race winner, here's someone who is popular, instead of just saying, well, he's a great guy,
Yeah,
or whatever.
it helps so much. And, obviously to be the guy that was holding the steering wheel for Young's Motorsports' first win. We're like a family over here. So
Mhm.
that means a lot. The truck is still raced version, same way it came off the racetrack in the showroom. So I'm reminded of that great day every day.
Awesome. So one really cool thing about you is that your name has come up so many times in like, either during interviews or like, when we're prepping, or whatever for the interview. And just people always speak so highly of you. They talk about how they've loved working with you. You're an awesome guy. A lot of them are like, you gotta get Spencer on here because Spencer is like the coolest guy, tell stories or whatever. Are those types of relationships something that came natural to you, or is it something that early in your career you wanted to make a point to, I want to build these relationships. I want to be known as the guy that's a great, ambassador, a great friend, a great, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. And I have some really good friends and supporters for sure, competitors as well. And I think, growing up an only child, you definitely you don't have a lot of friends in your household. So you're always becoming friends with, people outside, whether, kids that you play sports with or
Hmm.
people that you're doing business with, your parents, friends, kids, and things. So just being someone that is willing to talk to anybody, I think has definitely helped over the years. And to be in the position I'm in now, I get to meet a lot of cool people. We're all out here chasing our dreams, so a lot of like-minded individuals helps to have good conversations.
Hmm. That's awesome. Um, so we've had your personal trainer Hunter Smith on a few times. We've done a couple of different videos with him. For you, how has focusing on your physical, mental preparedness helped you on track?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. Hunter and I have become really good friends over the last few years, and he works with a lot of great drivers, even up in the Cup Series. So,
Hmm.
um, really, when you get into racing, growing up, you're probably in good shape, and then you start traveling a lot, racing 30 weekends a year or so, and it's easy to kind of fall off the wagon as far as taking your health and eating right. I was
Hmm.
always the guy that worked out, but eating fast food and things kind of jumps in the way. So Hunter, being a good friend, was like, man, we need to take this a little more serious. And really, I think the biggest thing is staying conditioned in the
Hmm.
truck. It's so hot, so being able to run the whole race and never really think about, oh, is my fan on? Do I turn this on and
Yeah.
off? Like, it's just, you don't even think about it. And then the confidence, when you're working out and you're hitting new PRs, whether it's on bench press or, you rode farther in 3 minutes than you did last week, mentally,
Hmm.
you just feel prepared going to the racetrack, especially with no practice, no, you know, preseason testing or
Hmm.
anything. You just go out there and race. So you want to show up and drive off into turn one with the best in the business around you, and be confident in yourself. So I think mental clarity and just feeling like you're in the best shape is a big benefit.
We did a video late last year where we filmed it, where he kind of took me through. It was probably like a 30th of what the actual training is, but it like even having followed, like what y'all do, on the Fit Stop app, or not apps, but social media accounts and all. It blew my mind how it was so much mental. It was go do this physical thing, but then go up to like the little digital board he has, and it just kind
Yeah.
of blew my mind that I was like, wow, this isn't even like, well, you go jump on the treadmill for 30 minutes or go do this. It was, nope, you're going to go lift this 30 times, then go try to do this. And it was just kind of crazy getting to like step in just for a second and think, well, that's how it is in a truck. It's not just, okay, don't pass out. It's, especially at a place like Talladega, it's at any moment there could be 15 cars, that go crash. So
Yeah.
it just blew my mind thinking, wow, this is so intense.
It's wild. I've for years I've, worked out with different trainers and, through late models and just moving up the ranks and saying, hey, I need to work out. It's kind of one of
Mhm.
those things that it was just a box and you want to check it off and then go sell cars at the dealership and say, man, I'm going to be ready to go win Saturday night.
Mhm.
Um, and then as I got to this level and really fortunate to be here, Hunter really introduced me to, hey, the whole point of this is being comfortable being uncomfortable. So
Mhm.
if I'm going to have you do bench press and then as soon as you're done, you're wore out, I'm going to have you go jump on the Synaptech board
Yeah.
and for the next minute chase dots. It's like, well, what is that? First thing is, what is that doing? And he's like, well, you don't want to do it, do you? And I'm like, not really. And he's like, well, that's the whole uncomfortable part.
Mhm.
And your mind going from this thing to that thing. So when a wreck happens in front of you, you avoid it. Things are good. Caution comes out, hey, we got a minute and a half to kind of regroup and we're going back racing again. You can't get lost on
Mhm.
what happened previously. So I feel like it helps a lot. He put a little video up about Martinsville and Richmond of, I think all of us were around a pretty crazy crash that
Mhm.
weekend. So, hey, he's doing his job.
So I guess finally, prior to racing, like you said, you were a car salesman. Do you have any funny stories from your time at the dealership selling cars?
Uh, there's got to be a lot of stories. Every day, it's like working at the zoo. It's just crazy because you deal with so many different people in the car
Mhm.
business, and you can have crazy stories from people you work with to just customers being wild. But one thing that stood out to me, I ran my first NASCAR Truck Series race, Mike Mittler from Missouri, so that's cool. I ran for him at Martinsville. It was like April 2nd, I think, 2016, and I was still selling cars at the dealership. So got done racing, and then literally, like, that was a Saturday. Monday, I was back at the dealership and hanging out, and there's all these little autograph Go Parts cards hanging up throughout the dealership from I worked with my dad. So everyone at the dealership knew who I was and what I was trying to accomplish. And so customers would come in and see, like, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's my dad's desk. We sat right next to each other. I'm like, yeah, I race. Oh, no way. And then some people, in the Charlotte area would know that I race from Hickory or NASCAR. And so this older guy comes in and he's looking at a Dodge Challenger. And, it's kind of more, I worked at a Dodge dealership. That's kind of one of the coolest cars we had, Challenger. So he's like, hey, man, I'm looking at this Challenger, blah, 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 RT, nice. And he's like, stops mid-sentence. Is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he's like, you made your debut like a couple weeks ago at Martinsville. He's like, I'm a big NASCAR fan. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So he heard my name, but he didn't know who I was. He's like, how about this? We're going to do this test drive different. You're going to drive and you're going to tell me if you would buy the car. And I'm like, this is the most bizarre thing. But so we get out there and I'm like, you seriously want me to like drive the car around with you in the passenger seat? He's like, if you approve this car, I'll buy it. I'm like, this is going to be the best, easiest car sale of my life. Of course, I said it was great, but unique scenarios like that. And my dad works at the dealership still. It's a Hendrick Dodge in Concord. And obviously the Hendrick connection, it's right next to Hendrick Motorsports. So you never know who's going to come in there. You see Ray Evernham and guys like him in and out of there all the time. So I swing by and see my dad, and a lot of the same people I worked with are still there. So it's hard to believe that was all, 4 or 5 years ago.
That's awesome. Well, Spencer, I really enjoyed you joining me today. Like I said, it's really cool when you have someone that keeps, coming up behind the scenes, and it's good things instead of negative things. So it's really awesome. I know even as a fan years ago, I became a fan when you were giving away a bunch of hero cards. So, even as a fan, like, I appreciate just that, always reaching out and making the fans, feel a part of your journey. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. We're always having fun, and I'm lucky to have this job. So anything I can do to kind of spread that out there, I appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time this morning as well.